Backlinks. For those that are like, what the hell is a backlink? Backlinks, very, very simply, is the things that link to other websites. When you're reading on a blog post and the little thing says, check out our last post or click here, and it's highlighted and underlined typically, and you can click on it and it takes you somewhere else. The thing that links you to that other website is called a backlink. And what's happening is that one website is passing juice or passing popularity or giving what we would call a vote to this other website. And where this all fits into the grand scheme of things is there's many different things that go into the ranking. There's page titles, there's meta descriptions, there's H1s, there's content, load speed, there's SSL certificate, all these different things. But if we boil it down, there are a few things that matter. And one of the main core three things is backlinks. Backlinks is something that can take you from barely lollygagging around and barely getting by and just kind of slowly making your way up the search results. It's almost like a steroid. It's almost like a juice. So backlinks are I describe it as friends, right? As friend circles, as the way that people view other people. And this is very apparent in high school, but it continues after you get out of high school. So everyone remember back when they were in high school, and you guys remember there was always the guys, the jocks, right? They all hung out together. And then there was always the emos, and then you had the cowboys, and then you had the potheads. What would happen is as soon as somebody would start hanging out with a group, like the new kid would move into town and they would go and start hanging out with that group, guess what we all assume? Oh, he's one of the skaters. Oh, he just hangs out with the cowboys. They just drink every Friday night and go light fires around town, right? It's hilarious, but it's true, right? We just assume that people are who they hang around. And it's the same thing online. Google assumes you are who you hang around. And by hang around, it's who is backlinked to you. It's who is giving you their vote of approval. And so what I want to talk about is it's the same thing. We'll call it fame. It's the same thing as popularity. If you're sitting there trying to crack the code and you're looking at all these people that are famous and you go and you boil it down of like, how do people get famous the quickest? If you really look at it, there's always the people that are just exceptionally good at what they do. There's the guy that like climbs mountains. You guys have probably seen that documentary. The dude like scales mountains with no ropes. It's like literally you'll sweat the whole time. That guy is like the best in the world, right? If you're the best at something in the world, you'll typically get fame and you typically get that respect, typically get that popularity. But that's the exception. The other way to do it, and the way that is the quickest, the way that's the more sure path, and that you see people doing all over TikTok, you see people doing all over social media, you see people doing this with podcasting, and they're very strategic, is the quickest way to get famous, the quickest way to get popularity is to leverage other people who are already on. Other people who are already famous, other people who are already popular. The way that you get popular is by having them endorse you. That's it. You move to a new school and you go and you're hanging out with the popular kids, whether it's in college, whether it's whatever, and you're all of a sudden part of that crowd and you're at the parties and you're getting tagged on social media. Guess what? You just shortcutted your way. You don't have to be the best at anything. You don't have to be somebody that does the craziest shit. You're not somebody that has to say the craziest stuff. You just have to be friends. You have to be endorsed by those that are popular, by those that are quote unquote famous. That's why people walk around with microphones and they interview famous TikTok people, and then they post the clip, and then the person that they post the clip about wants to take that content and put it on theirs. And all of a sudden you see this popular person is hanging out with this popular person. They're tagging each other and they're building each other's audience. It's the exact same thing, guys. And the quickest way to get popular, the quickest way to create fame is to leverage other people. Now, we're not trying to get famous here, and we're talking about websites. So how does this have to do with anything? Well, it's the exact same thing with your website. We want your website to become famous. We want your website to become popular in Google's eyes. And the definition of that would be that Google views it as a good website. It is a website that has authority. And this is going to almost force Google to put it at the top of the results. So this is just a different way to look at it. But to me, it makes total sense. If that doesn't make sense, please let me know in the comments. But essentially what we're trying to do is find the other popular websites, the other popular kids, and have them endorse us. And the way that they endorse us is by sending us a backlink, by linking to us. That is telling Google, hey, Google, this gal, this guy, look, I know they're new, they're cool. I'm sending them some of my juice. I'm giving them a backlink. And that should tell you that I vibe with that person.
This is a friend, Rachel Keller.
So that's the game, dude, is how do we go and get these websites that Google deems as popular, or Google deems as having trust, or Google deems as authoritative by their metrics? How do we get them to link to us? That's the whole game. I know it's kind of a long explanation, but the more that you understand this, the more you can go, okay, that makes sense. And just to like really nail it home, for example, if I had a brand new website and I could somehow, I had a guy that worked at Forbes, I had a guy that worked at New York Times, and I was able to go to my 2 or 3 buddies and say, hey, dude, look, I just need a backlink. That's all I need, dude. I'll write you an article. I'll work for free for a month, whatever. I just need you to like backlink to my website, okay? Those backlinks, those 2 or 3, probably even one of those backlinks from any of those sources would literally be enough to rank you in almost any small city in America in specific niches. And obviously that's kind of a vague generalization. Obviously there's going to be some that are more competitive, but that would go a long way. Having one person endorse you goes a long way.